Lives of the Artists by Giorgio Vasari, Volume 1, translated by George Bull. Introduction. Vasari's Lives. In the second edition of the Lives, which was seen through the press in Florence in 1568, Giorgio Vasari informed his fellow artists that of the large number of volumes printed of the first edition, 18 years before, not one had been left on the booksellers' hands. A bestseller when they were first published 400 years ago, his biographies of the artists of the Renaissance have over the centuries maintained both their wide popular appeal and their immense historical value. Vasari was born in 1511, about the time Henry VIII came to the throne of England, in Arezzo, a Tuscan town which was subject to the Republic of Florence. He was a year old when, by force of Spanish arms, the Medici family were restored to power in Florence, to rule there almost without interruption for over 200 years. As he grew up, the dynastic conflict between France and Spain, in which Florence became a pawn in the Spanish camp, was caught up in the shattering turmoil of the Reformation. When he died in his early 60s, the Catholic world was busy on harsh internal reform and offensive military action against Protestant states and rulers. The city-state of Florence had long since settled down to the paternal rule of a Medici duke. Still developing vigorously in the north of Europe, in Italy the ideas and attitudes of the Renaissance were being modified or reversed by an alien spirit in art and life. Though a fairly pious Catholic and a fierce patriot, Vasari was not the slightest bit interested in the religious and political issues of his time. The faintest whiff of gunpowder or heresy was enough to send him running for cover. Like Uccello, murmuring about the beauties of perspective as his wife nagged him to come to bed, like his contemporary Benvenuto Cellini, a braver but not a better man, Vasari was obsessed by art. The pictures and plans he was pouring out himself, the products and performances of his fellow artists. Nevertheless, the lives were shaped by the historical circumstances of 16th-century Italy, autocratic governments in Rome and Florence, a balance between freedom of movement and incipient censorship of thought, and a newly established role for the artist in society, partly servant to the court and the people, and partly a professional, answerable to himself and God alone. At the end of the Lives, Vasari included a description of his own works. From this, and from what he tells us elsewhere, emerges an autobiography which is generally unexciting in itself, but valuable for the light it throws on the genesis of the Lives.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?